This is when I first went in, and this is a year later. And you can see I matured quite a bit. I was just a boy when I went in, but in a year I was a young man. This is when I returned from overseas. I saluted the flag with everyone else, and they told me I was an American and I had to fight for America and save our country from the evils of tyranny and so forth, and I was delighted. And I was in the infantry, and I was so delighted to finally be included in the American club that I didn't mind being in the infantry. I didn't resent it at all. I was delighted to have the opportunity to show that I was an American. But the most horrible thing I ever saw was a concentration camp we liberated. It wasn't a big one, but there were dead people all over and walking skeletons, literally. And the smell was horrendous. That was the worst thing I ever saw. There are close calls that I don't know how close they were. I mean, here I'd hear, a bullet snapping past my ear, and I'd get hit, and shells would fall and dirt would fall on us. But I don't know how close they were. But one case was very close. I remember where a bullet went right past my face. It was close enough to my face to give me a burn. I had a burn, but didn't cut my flesh. And it hit the guy next to me in the head and killed him. And I didn't even realize I had the burn until the next day when I saw this red streak, across my. But it didn't cut the skin. I guess that's about as close as you can get. Well, I was drafted. I wanted to volunteer, but my parents wouldn't sign. So I was drafted. I was in my senior year in high school. And in those days, as soon as you were 18, you were eligible for the draft. And I was 18 in July, on July 18th, and I was drafted in October. I left in October. I remember we had a real tough sergeant. He was scary. He was a big Southerner, and he had red hair and cold blue eyes. And he had been in combat in the Pacific. And he came home, and he volunteered to go fight in Europe. So he was strange. And a sergeant can carry any kind of a weapon he wants. Tommy gun, rifle, anything. And he carried a rifle and a bazooka. And everyone was, and he was very sullen. He never talked much. And so one day we moved into a German village, and we're checking it, make sure there are no German soldiers in the houses to snipe at us. And so he said, "Giobbi, you come with me." And oh my God, I said, this guy's going to shoot me if I make a mistake. I was more frightened of him than I was of the Germans. And I was just scared to death that I make a dumb mistake. Because we were dealing with live ammunition. We had hand grenades hanging from our pockets. We had, you make a mistake and you kill somebody. And so I was frightened to death of him. So we went up to a house and he kicked the door in. And he rushed in. And he was this big guy. He was really big. And in this large room in his farmhouse was a German. He looked like an old man, but he couldn't, probably in his 60s with a big handlebar mustache. He was a farmer. And his wife, and apparently their daughter, in one corner of this large room, frightened to death. And on the other side of the room were two little children, maybe 4 and 5, that age group, crying. And I looked at them, and he yelled out to them, Deutsch Soldat. And the German said, Nix Soldat, Nix Soldat. There are no German soldiers in the house. He says, "Giobbi, you watch. I'm going upstairs. You stay here and you watch the stairs." A little boy and a little girl. I'd say the girl was probably 3 and the boy was probably 5. And they were frightened to death. Mm-hmm. I felt so sorry for those kids. I had a chocolate bar in my pocket, and it was a GI issue. It was about 5 inches long, about an inch and a half high, and it was semi-sweet. We carried that as an emergency ration. If we didn't have any food, that bar of chocolate would keep you satisfied for a whole day. I had it in my pocket, and I put it in my hand, and I was going to toss it to the kids who go like this. And I had my hand in my pocket, and I said, oh my God, if my sergeant comes down and he sees me fraternizing with the Germans, he's liable to get mad as hell. Mm-hmm. So I hesitated. Then I put my hand on the chocolate bar. I'm going to throw it to them anyway. Just before I did that, he came down the steps. Mm-hmm. Okay, Giobbi, let's go. And we left. And then I forgot about the incident. As of maybe 5 years ago or so, I kept thinking about. And all I think about of the war is I should have given those kids that chocolate bar. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're going to regret later on. And I did have a choice. I could have done it immediately, but I was so frightened of the sergeant. You know, I didn't want to do anything. I just did what I was told to. And there are times when I tell it, I get all choked up
yes,
still.
It is the road we all seem to be on. Lately where I go, I hear the sound of voices shouting.